hello to all of our fans and followers.
Good
This
morning,
always looks like a
everyone.
good morning, good afternoon. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. This always looks like a Google background to me. Um, there we go. I don't know
Yeah.
how the lighting is, but all right, live from Tel Aviv and Scottsdale. How we
Yes.
doing?
No, I'm back. I'm back. I did a
Oh,
quick
you're
day trip.
back. Oh,
Yes.
nice. Okay, great. Okay, it's still bright and early
Yes.
from Colorado.
That's right. Bright and early. Bright and early.
Yeah, 5 o'clock somewhere. Cheers. If you think this is
Cheers.
water,
Got my
just
coffee.
kidding. It is water, but I wish it weren't water.
Soon. Soon.
Soon, soon. Okay, so today we're actually going to talk about the report that Fullpath just released. It's a report on the future of the modern car buying process, specifically how AI will influence it. I want to just share it so that people can see where to find it or what it looks like. Hold on. I want to share my screen here. I've never done this on Riverside. Here we go. Looks like this. You can download it right from our report section on our website. But you could see here that we've surveyed over 1,000 consumers on what they were using when they were actually buying their car. And these consumers had to both be the primary buyer and had to have purchased and or leased a car in the last 2 years. So it had to be super relevant. So anyway, I recommend looking through this report, especially as a dealer, to see sort of like how people are shopping for their cars. What are they thinking about? What are they prioritizing? But specifically, there's some interesting things that came up in the report. One of them, and I call them kind of like myth busters. One of them is that only 5% of the people who filled out the survey said that they would feel comfortable doing the entire process online. I don't know if this is like a myth buster. I don't know if this is a myth that everyone knows about now these days, but like all we hear about is digitizing car dealers, digitizing automotive. And I feel like that just means something different than retail outside of automotive.
Yeah, I would say recently purchasing a car. I think, obviously going in and, seeing the cars, seeing the features, driving, doing that stuff. I think there's always this euphoric uh uh like arena of where like you can like one click buy a car. Now Amazon's doing some really cool stuff where you can
That's true.
go through and buy a car, but I would say like most people, if they go in and look at the car, test drive a car, drive the car, and then go home, then they can go through and say, hey, I drove the, insert X car. And then I already know what the features and functionality is. Then I can do a lot of it online and then go through and do it. But I would say it's definitely getting into a better spot where it's not like you're sitting in the dealership for hours. Like
Yes.
when I was there, I got a car from one of my buddies' places, and maybe because I know them and whatnot, but we were in and
Yeah,
out
you have
in
connections.
well, I mean, anyone in auto does, but
Yeah.
I don't know, think my process would be different from their process. Um, but I will say what actually got me into buying the car is they're actually a full path customer, and they sent a custom audience for EVs because I got my mother-in-law an EV, and I got an email from them, which sparked me to go in and have that conversation, which I thought was pretty cool.
That is really cool. It was a full path audience activation email. Look at
Yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
awesome. Well, we see here in this survey also that people prioritize personalized and custom outreach. So that's a perfect example. One of the things, and then we could just sort of talk about the implications of AI in general. But I thought this was really interesting. Two things about AI in this report. One of them being that um, close to 65% of the people already feel extremely comfortable using AI in their research. So obviously we see this as marketers, SEOs, dead GEO, everyone is using generative AI at this point to find out anything that they want. I mean, my husband literally uses it instead of going to the doctor at this point. Like we'll just upload stuff, get stuff back. Like
yeah,
it's wild. So I think like we're seeing that in auto, and dealers really need to figure out how they're going to incorporate that into their process, because of course we see that here. And then we also see um, we also see here that this is the second myth buster. Again, there's a correlation with AI, which I'll talk about in a moment, but people, so we see that different generations want to come in and buy the car, and do the research online first. But we also see that with Gen Z, for example, they prioritize an in-person visit before coming in. So it's just really interesting that we're like thinking that there's going to be this doomsday of like no dealership, no in-person dealership. It's really not true. It's all about just setting up the best experience and expectations with the customer and the shopper before they come in, which we see in this survey, specifically with an emphasis on AI. So give them the tools that they want, give them the quick, fast answers, the informative answers that will help them decide what the best car is for them, what the best features and the best pricing based on obviously the incentives that your dealership has, but also to get that person to come into your dealership versus a different one. So it's like people talk about this all the time, but it was kind of nice to see it in the numbers. Sorry, Mike, did I
How
cut you
much
off?
do you think? How much? No. How much do you? When do you think it's going to flip? Because I saw the percentages, and obviously, I think as it becomes more the norm of people doing the research, right? Because right now
Yeah.
it's more organic, and then there's marketplaces and all that. But as people move to the shift, as like once you start working with AI, whether it's Gemini, Perplexity, Grok, Chat GPT, all that stuff, you inherently start doing it more. And me personally, if I need to do something, I'll plug it in. Every time I need something, it is amazing the responses that you get and how much time you save. And so for like the car buying experience, when do you think it's going to start moving into like it's going to start flipping where instead of doing the research on organic and marketplaces and all that stuff, where I can just go to any of these places and say, hey, here's the car that I'm looking for. Where can I get the best price or I mean, you can open up like the rabbit hole, right? Or if you have
Yeah,
an
yeah.
agentic experience where you say, which I'm sure someone can build this as a, car buying, uh,
Expert or
bot or
whatever.
something like,
Yeah.
yeah, right. So you can say, hey, I'm looking for a Tundra TRD Pro in Denver. Find me the best place that has the best reviews, best reputable, no dealer, markup, all that stuff, and then it'll just go, and then it'll come back and say, hey, here's the 5 places, and you can go even further, where it can go through, and if you want to not put your tin hat on, but if you want to go even further, is that then it can actually submit the lead and do the process to say, hey, here's the deal I have for you, and you can say
Okay,
yes,
so
no.
this won't directly answer your question, but I'll shout out here to Ro, our head of content here at Fullpath. She went to um, a summit here, like a day conference here in Tel Aviv a few weeks ago, where one of the predictions was that websites are not going to even be relevant in a year because of exactly what you're describing. GEO is just going to ingest all the information, including those incentives, including the deals, everything. So you need to make sure, yeah, you have a website and or blog or whatever. You kind of have to maximize and capitalize on your content so that it can be sucked into Grok and ChatGPT and Claude and all the others. And basically, it's going to take all that information from all the existing websites and basically spit out like the incentive or the deal based on the dealership. So like people are talking about that specifically for sure here in Tel Aviv. People are talking about it. Ro, when she was going through like some of her conference notes, brought that up, and I thought it was interesting to see. And now that you're talking about it in the context of auto, I'm like, oh, crap, we actually are going to go in that direction. Like dealers
Yeah.
do need to figure out how to optimize their websites. But before we get to that step, which I do think is probably like 2 to 3, 4, 5 years away, for
I thought you were going to
sure.
say months.
No, no, no. I think the first step though, I don't think websites will disappear in the next month, in the
No.
next 4 months. I think years. But I do think in the next 4, 5, 6 months, if a dealer doesn't have that capability on their website, people are going to drop off. Like you need to have that immediate kind of like agent, like you're mentioning, on the
Yeah.
website because that's how people are going to get used to searching. I mean, we do it for everything now. Like I just had to put together a contract for like a daycare, like a nanny, and I use ChatGPT for everything. I mean, I should
Yeah.
probably double check with like a legal, like a,
You know,
like a
weird
lawyer.
hallucinations in there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
make sure
But I
there's
think
no, but it was amazing.
yeah, I mean it's that.
Like,
I mean you saw the I built a video which was pretty cool. We had a little
oh yeah,
celebratory moment at Fullpath, which was really cool. And that was even like mind blowing, like from
it
that
was
side of like,
awesome.
and that's only going to get better. But I think it's going to be interesting because at some point it's going to be all of these agents, the AI is going to be talking to the AI, meaning there's a lot of like lead response tools and things like that. Like
Yeah,
if I submit a lead, the AI is going to talk to the AI, and it's going to be
but
interesting.
that's also going to be interesting for automotive actually, because we talk a lot about automotive. Actually, we haven't spoken about this yet, but like the challenges of open API ecosystem in automotive. Like, how is that even going to work? Because AI is going to have a whole different type of protocol, and
Mhm.
if automotive doesn't set up the proper infrastructure for this, we're just going to be in the same kind of like challenging era that we are when everyone else is working on AI, talking to AI. So that is a good thing that dealers should be thinking about, and vendors for sure should be thinking about as they're building their own AI agents in their processes.
Yeah. Well, I think
Yeah.
that's where I think we chatted about this a little bit before. That's where I think the CDP, like at a foundational level, where a CDP is really powerful, is the data aggregation and normalization of the data, where the inherent issue, and exactly what you said, is the data infrastructure in auto is not as robust as all the other tools that you can plug and play. So I think, like I said before, the CDP is going to be that foundational layer to be the corpus for the AI to be built off of, right? I don't think,
Yeah.
unless someone can prove me wrong, you're not going to have your AI connected to one part of your siloed data. Like when you connect any of your
Yeah.
transactional history, any of the historical history, plus your web browsing history, plus, 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 that's where it pulls in on the CDP, which gives you the best response. If I'm an AI agentic bot that's responding, I can say, if Ilana's done business with me before, I can say, hey, you know, thanks for doing business or buying, your third, fourth, fifth car with us. It's a way different experience than saying, hey, any questions I can answer on your Tundra? I don't think you'd buy a Tundra, um, but I
I
think
totally would. No,
so.
no,
But
I really think that all those things are important for dealers. And if we go back to the original question, which is or the original like report and survey, and just showing that already 62% are comfortable with AI, like I can only imagine that that's going to go up significantly as people start using basically only Gen AI. I mean, we even see it in our metrics. So we were, and I think any marketer is paying really close attention to that. I had a few calls today where it came up where we're losing a lot of organic traffic, not to competition, but to to GEO. So it's really figuring out dealers figure out how to have the AI answer on their website, and also how can they show up on Grok when someone asks, "Where's the best dealership near me with the best incentives right
mhm.
now for X model?" Like that is the most important thing for dealers to focus on the immediate future, so that they can fit what we're seeing, not just from consumers, but also from like a marketing perspective, what I'm seeing just as trends for people searching. It's a
Yeah,
totally different game for search and for
yeah,
shoppers. It's kind of crazy to see in real time.
yeah.
It's wild.
It's moving fast.
It is moving fast. It's wild.
Yeah, I would say like for the not we don't need to get into it now, but I would also say I was speaking at some 20 groups and also talking with some other folks is uh at the dealership. So like as AI becomes more ingrained into everyone's daily workflow of not thinking anymore, let's call a spade a spade.
By the way,
And
did you see those? Did you see the recent studies? By the way, it's actually crazy.
oh, of the like people's
Of like
uh
people's brains
yes.
when they used
Yeah.
to.
I mean,
It's
it's
wild.
in
Anyway,
reality you don't. You just need to like query and get a it's
yeah, it's crazy.
instant gratification has now gone wild. So now it's
Yeah,
like, you have access to like PhD level responses,
yeah.
which is
Like
crazy.
legitimately, do not have to think anymore. I mean, you have to be really good at prompting, and that's about it.
Yeah. But like what you said about your husband, like I went and had a blood panel done and I took my whole blood panel and just plugged it into Grok and it told me everything about it, which was way
That's
more
it's
informative
crazy.
than my doctor's. My doctor's great, but it was like it told me
Yeah,
here's what it is. here's the function of it, here's where you are, and then it summarized everything. It was crazy.
That's
But
crazy.
getting back to the
Hope you did that
dealership
in a
side,
secure system. No, I'm just kidding. Now
right?
they're
That's
going
what
to
I was
use
going
your
to say.
data. Oh,
Yeah,
that
I
is what you're
know.
going to say? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. But that, like, even at the dealership side, is like opening up, as it becomes more, there is a security element at the dealership side where you
Yeah,
need to have a secure type database that your dealers and dealer people at the dealership can log into, because we don't
yeah,
want to just be like uploading everything in to say like, hey, do all this stuff and financial data and all that. So maybe that's a teaser for another one, but I think that's another
yeah, for
kind of the
sure.
next phase of this, that you can build operating systems on top of it. So
Yeah, and just to bring that more to like real life example, I can now go to Grok and be like, "Hey, what's Mike Colacchio's blood panel?" And it might
yeah,
even tell me. You're just feeding in
try
its
it.
own information. No, I won't try that. Don't worry. But I'm just saying, like, but for sure, dealerships need to be thinking about that, because if you're uploading PII information and then the GPT and the Gen AI is basically learning off of it, that's public information. So
Yeah.
definitely a teaser. We could talk about that next time. Awesome. Thank you. Cheers. 5 o'clock
Yes.
somewhere.
Cheers.
Cheers to AI.
We'll, s-
Have a good one.
we'll see ya. Bye.
Bye.